My wife cheated with her boss, but the worst part, my own daughters helped her hide it for months. Now I'm cutting them all out of my life, and they won't even be invited to their sister's wedding.
For almost 3 decades, I thought I had built a life that others would envy. My wife, Jane, 49F, and I, 50M, had been married for 29 years. We had 2 beautiful daughters, Alice, 26F, and Maddie, 24F. They were our pride and joy. Over the years, I watched them grow from little girls into accomplished women. And through it all, I believed we were the perfect family. I loved Jane with all my heart. We went through the ups and downs of life together, raising children, financial struggles, health scares, and came out stronger every time, or so I thought. I genuinely believed Jane and I were partners, facing life side by side, growing old together as we always said we would. But last week, everything I thought I knew about my life came crashing down. All those years, all those memories, they feel like a lie now. It all started like any other day. Jane was getting ready for a girls' dinner with Alice and Maddie. They'd do this every few weeks, spend some time together, laugh, talk about life. It always made me happy that they were so close. I loved seeing my daughters enjoy time with their mom. It made me proud, like we had done something right as parents. But this time was different. As Jane was in the shower, her phone buzzed. I was sitting at the kitchen counter reading the news, sipping my coffee. When I heard her phone, I didn't think much of it. It was normal for her to get texts from the girls when they were organizing plans. I figured it was just one of them confirming the time or location for dinner, so I went over to check, thinking I'd let her know if one of the girls was running late. But when I picked up her phone, what I saw made my blood run cold. It was a message from an unsaved number, and it read, "I can't wait to see you tonight," followed by a kissing emoji. I stood there frozen, staring at the message, trying to make sense of what I was looking at. It didn't make any sense. I opened the message thread, and what I saw shattered my world. It was Jane's boss. The conversation wasn't long, but it was enough to confirm everything I had feared in those few seconds. They were meeting for dinner, but this wasn't a business meeting. This was personal. The messages were filled with flirtation and affection. He was excited to see her, and she felt the same. There was even a message from earlier in the week where he wrote, "I miss you. Once a week isn't enough." She responded with, "I miss you too." That was it. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. The reality of what I was seeing hit me like a freight train. My wife, my partner of almost 3 decades, was having an affair. How long had this been going on? How had I not seen the signs? My mind was racing with a million questions, but I didn't have time to process any of it. Jane came downstairs a few minutes later, dressed and ready for her girls' dinner. I couldn't confront her. I needed more. I needed to be absolutely sure. So I did something I'm not proud of. I turned her location sharing on, grabbed her phone, and pretended everything was fine. "Have a great night with the girls," I said, my voice barely hiding the anger and devastation I felt boiling inside me. She smiled, kissed me on the cheek, and left. As soon as she walked out the door, I grabbed my phone and texted both Alice and Maddie. I asked them what time they were meeting for dinner, hoping against hope that they would somehow say something that would make all of this a misunderstanding. But what happened next broke me to my core. Both of my daughters texted back almost immediately, saying they were excited for dinner and couldn't wait to see their mom. They were lying. My own daughters were lying to me. They were helping their mother cover up her affair. At that moment, my world fell apart. Not only had my wife betrayed me, but my daughters, my little girls who I had raised, protected, and loved with all my heart, were part of it. How could they do this to me? How could they lie to my face, knowing what their mother was doing behind my back? I felt sick. I didn't know what to do, but I knew I needed to see it for myself. I needed to catch her in the act. So I waited. I waited for her location to update, showing me where she was going. When it finally did, I saw she was at a restaurant, the same one we had been to countless times as a family. I got in my car and drove there, my heart pounding in my chest the entire time. When I arrived, I parked outside and watched from my car. Jane was sitting at a table by the window, but she wasn't with Alice or Maddie. She was with him, her boss. They were sitting across from each other, holding hands, laughing, completely unaware that I was watching them. It was like a nightmare. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I pulled out my phone, took a few pictures of them together, and drove away. As I sat in my car staring at the photos of my wife with another man, I felt a wave of rage and heartbreak wash over me. Without thinking, I opened our family group chat and sent the photos with a simple message, "Glad you're enjoying girls' dinner together." Then I turned off my phone and drove to my brother's house. I didn't want to deal with the fallout just yet. I couldn't. I was too angry, too heartbroken. I didn't know what to say or how to confront any of them, so I did nothing. I spent the night at my brother's house, barely sleeping, just replaying everything in my head. How could this be happening? How had my life come to this? The woman I had loved for almost 3 decades was cheating on me, and my daughters, my own flesh and blood, were helping her cover it up. The next morning, when I finally turned my phone back on, it was flooded with notifications. Jane had called and texted me dozens of times, leaving voicemails trying to explain herself. But I didn't listen to any of them. I couldn't bring myself to hear her excuses. I was done with her. The marriage was over. There was nothing left to save. My daughters had also texted me. Maddie, my youngest, was frantic. She had sent me over 50 messages apologizing, saying she never should have lied to me, that she hated herself for it. She was always the one who was closest to me. My little girl, my pride and joy. Now she was involved in this mess. I didn't know how to feel about her anymore. Her boyfriend even texted me, saying she was having a panic attack and begging me to call her. I didn't know what to do. I was angry, but I still loved her. She was my daughter. But she had lied to me, and that hurt more than I could ever put into words. I sent her a message, trying to keep it short. Maddie, I love you, but what you've done has hurt me deeply. I need space. She replied almost immediately, apologizing again, saying she loved me and that she would never forgive herself. I didn't respond. Alice was different. She had always been closer to her mother. We had a good relationship, but she was definitely a mama's girl. Her message was short, like she didn't really feel bad about what she had done. She apologized, but then said something that made me furious. She told me that I shouldn't throw away a good marriage over one mistake. One mistake. I saw red. This wasn't just a mistake. This was a betrayal, not just from Jane, but from my entire family. I sent Alice a message telling her exactly how I felt. Alice, this isn't a mistake. This is a betrayal. From my whole family. Please don't contact me until I reach out first. She didn't respond. But I know she showed the message to her mother, because Jane started texting me, saying I shouldn't take this out on Alice. I ignored her. I wasn't going to talk to Jane anymore unless it was through lawyers. I had already decided I was getting a divorce. There was no way I could stay married to her after what she had done. I called a few lawyers that morning and met with them throughout the day. I wanted the best representation I could get. I wanted to make sure Jane didn't get away with anything. I met with 5 different attorneys, made sure she couldn't use any of them, and finally picked the one who seemed the most aggressive. I was ready to go to war. That was 5 days ago. I'm still staying with my brother. Every morning I wake up and cry. Sometimes it feels like I'll never stop crying. Other times I'm so angry that I can't see straight. I don't know how to move forward. I don't know how to live in a world where my wife cheated on me and my daughters lied to me. Losing Jane is hard enough. I loved her for almost 3 decades and I thought she loved me too. But now I don't know what to believe. Was any of it real? Or was she lying to me the whole time? I don't think I'll ever know the full truth. But the thing that hurts the most is my daughters. How do I ever look at them again? How do I forgive them for what they did? Alice is supposed to get married in the fall. I've been paying for almost everything. But now I don't even think I can go. How can I stand there, pretending to be a proud father when I know she was part of this betrayal? How can I walk her down the aisle, knowing she lied to my face, helped her mother cover up an affair? I don't think I can do it. I don't know what to do next. I feel like I've lost everything. The life I thought I had, the family I thought loved me, it's all gone. I'm just lost. Completely destroyed. I'm trying to take it one day at a time, but every day feels harder than the last. How do you move on from something like this? How do you ever trust anyone again?